What's up, guys? It's Professor B, and I'm back with another physics problem. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. The problem says the magnitude of vector A is 8.2 units, and it points in the positive x direction. That means that the angle of vector A is going to be 0 degrees. While the second vector B points in the positive y direction. They don't give us the magnitude, but they do give us the direction, which would mean that the angle of vector B is equal to 90 degrees. Now, for part A, it says that the sum of these two vectors, we're going to let the sum of these two vectors equal vector C. We don't know the magnitude, but we know that it points about 32 degrees from the horizontal. So the angle is going to be 32 degrees. They want us to find what is the magnitude of B. So the magnitude of B is going to equal the square root of the x component of B plus the y component of B squared. So in order to find these, we need to find the x components of A. So we know that A sub x is going to equal 8.2, which is the magnitude, times cosine of 0 degrees, which is just going to yield 8.2. I apologize, that's 28 degrees. And we know that the y component of A is going to be 8.2 times sine of 0 degrees, which is just going to yield 0. Now, we do the same thing for the B component, for the x component of B. It's going to be the magnitude of B because they do not give us the magnitude, so we can just write magnitude and then cosine of 90 degrees, which is 0. So we already know right off the bat that the x component of B is going to be 0. So all we have to account for is the y component of B, which is going to equal the magnitude times sine of 90. And sine of 90 is equal to 1, so that's just going to give you the magnitude of B. Now, if we do the same thing for the C vector, we know that the x component of C is going to be its magnitude times cosine of 28 degrees. And the y component, it's going to be its magnitude times sine of 28 degrees. So based on the relationship that we have, we know that the vector A plus the vector B is equal to the vector C. So that means that all of our x components are going to equal. So the x component of C is going to equal the x component of A plus the x component of B. And we know that the x component of C is the magnitude times cosine of 28 degrees, and A of x is going to be 8.2, and we already know that B sub x is going to be 0. So the magnitude of C is equal to 8.2 all over cosine of 28 degrees. Putting that in your calculator, you should get 9.29 units, and that is for the magnitude of C. So now that we have the magnitude of C, we could solve for B sub y, which is equal to the magnitude of B. So using the same relationship that we have right here, we can do the same thing for our y components, where we have C sub y is equal to A sub y plus B sub y. So C sub y is going to be its magnitude, which we just found to be 9.29 times sine of 28 degrees is equal to A sub y, which is 0, plus B sub y, which is the magnitude of B. And that should give you, putting that in your calculator, should give you 9.29 times sine of 28. That should give you 4.36 units. Now there's another way we can do this, which is a little much easier, and that would be using our trigonometry. We know that the vector A points in the positive x direction, and it's 8.2 units, and the vector B points in the positive y direction, and we don't know the magnitude. But we do know that the sum of these two vectors has an angle of 32 degrees. with the horizontal. So using our trigonometry, we can find the magnitude of C by doing cosine of 28 degrees is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And that would give us the magnitude of C. Doing the algebra, we would have 8.2 all over cosine of 28 degrees. And after putting that in your calculator, you should get the same thing as 9.29. Now to find B, which is this blue line right here, we could use the tangent relationship, having tangent of 28 degrees is equal to the magnitude of B. Remember that tangent is adjacent over opposite. I'm sorry, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So tangent of 28 degrees is going to equal opposite all over A, which is 8.2. So doing the math and putting that into your calculator, 8.2 times tangent of 28 degrees, you should get 4.36, which checks out. Thank you for watching.